The Ethnographic Park, in Nowy Sącz, located in southeastern Poland, recreates a 19th century village from the Galicia region. It offers a vivid glimpse into the architecture, daily life, agriculture, and traditional folk culture of the area. Nearly all the buildings are original, having been carefully dismantled in their native villages, transported, and reassembled in this open-air museum. The park spans 21 hectares. Walking through its grounds, surrounded by beautiful nature, feels like a pleasant journey back in time. Visitors' visit begins at a prosperous peasant homestead from Gostwica. The homestead consists of several structures: a cottage, a barn, a stable, a pigsty, and a carriage house. The stable is designed to accommodate both oxen and horses. It also houses agricultural tools, including a chaff cutter and a straw cutting device, as well as a small sleeping area for the farmhand. All the buildings feature thatched roofs, bound in patterns that create either a smooth or stepped effect. The stable connects at a right angle to the freestanding pigsty and chicken coop. The cottage, stable, and pigsty were traditionally whitewashed. Adjacent to the cottage is a charming garden planted with flowers and vegetables, alongside an apple orchard that contains several box hives. The cottage itself comprises 4 rooms, a spacious entrance hall, a cold room to the left, a kitchen, and a bedroom to the right. The cold room, which lacked a stove, remained unheated during the winter, and is now decorated in the style of a traditional wedding ceremony. The master's bedroom had a wooden plank floor. Beds were arranged along the walls, with a bench, chairs, and a table placed in the center. In the kitchen, cows were traditionally housed near the window, with a hay rack placed in front. The kitchen features a basic smoke stove. Smoke would fill the room, forming a thick layer near the ceiling before venting through an opening in the roof. Both the kitchen and the hall had clay floors. In the hall stands a large barrel bound with juniper root bands, traditionally used for fermenting cabbage. When visitors leave the homestead, it is quiet and serene. Yet, 180 years ago, it would have been bustling with life, the sounds of children playing, dogs barking, chickens clucking, and the hum of daily chores. Conversations between the landlord, farmhand, and servants would mix with the aroma of dinner being prepared. This vivid sense of the past immerses visitors as they continue exploring the vibrant world of 19th century rural life. As visitors journeyed onward through the park, they came upon a forge built in the early 1920s. In its heyday, this forge played a crucial role in shoeing horses, repairing farm equipment, and maintaining wagons, essential tasks for sustaining rural livelihoods. Along its weathered outer wall hung an array of traditional blacksmith tools, a sturdy vise, an assortment of files, drills, taps, and hammers, each bearing the marks of countless hours of labor. From this vantage point, visitors could glimpse the sprawling multi-building homestead of a moderately prosperous farmer. It stood as a testament to self-sufficiency, surrounded by a vibrant apple orchard. Nestled among the trees were several box hives, where bees flitted industriously, providing not only honey, but also a sense of harmony with nature. The homestead comprised a smoky straw-roofed cottage, dating back to 1890, a weathered barn, a sturdy sheepfold, and a granary for storing harvested grains. To the left of the cottage lay a small, neatly tended garden, brimming with vegetables, meant for everyday meals, a practical source for the household's cooking needs. The cottage's interior told a story of simple, hard-working lives. 4 modest rooms made up the space. To the left was the main living area, where a spinning wheel once stood proudly, transforming wool, flax, and hemp into thread. This room doubled as a bedroom, furnished with wooden beds, a sturdy bench, and a table. On the right was the kitchen, dominated by a combined cooking and heating stove. Drying firewood leaned against the walls. In one corner, a straw-filled bed offered a place for children to rest. As visitors lingered, the whispers of the past seemed to beckon, urging them to pause and reflect on the ingenuity and resilience of those who lived here. The barn stood proudly nearby, its thatched roof with a distinctive stepped pattern, hinting at the craftsmanship of its builders. Inside, stacks of rye, barley, and oat straw were once carefully stored, vital for feeding livestock and insulating homes during harsh winters. With a final glance at the homestead, visitors resumed their journey. The path ahead seemed to weave between the past and the present, each step inviting them to consider how far we've come and what we might learn from those who came before us. The modest peasant homestead, built in 1869, reflects the simplicity and resourcefulness of rural life. Formed in an L shape, the single building structure is thoughtfully arranged to maximize utility despite its small size. A charming front garden blends beauty and practicality, featuring flowers, vegetables, and herbs that provided food, medicine, and color to the otherwise humble surroundings. Wooden beams, with moss or clay insulation, kept the interior warm in winter and cool in summer. One arm of the L shape houses the living quarters, including a single room, a hallway, and a stable, combined with a pigsty. The living room served as the heart of the home, where meals were prepared, stories shared, and tasks like spinning, weaving, or sewing occupied long evenings. The steeply pitched, straw-covered roof required regular maintenance to withstand the elements. The other, L arm, contains functional spaces, such as a granary for grain storage. This homestead reflects the ingenuity of its inhabitants, who transformed limited resources into a functional, enduring home, deeply connected to the land. Cottage of a prosperous farmer, Miak, built in 1884, reflects modern local craftsmanship of its time. A decorative front porch was added, enhancing its charm. Miak was an exceptional peasant who completed formal education and higher studies. He served as a village head and a member of the Austrian Parliament in Vienna. The original thatched roof was replaced with durable tiles, and fruit trees were planted around the house. At the rear, wooden beams sealed with hemp insulation ensured warmth in winter and coolness in summer. The nearby stable, from the late 19th century, also features a tiled roof and includes spaces for cows, bulls, and sheep. The 1860s barn, with its straw roof, housed grindstones connected to a horse-driven mill. This harmonious blend of utility and design showcases the ingenuity of rural life, where every structure and detail served a vital purpose in sustaining the household. Visitors move through the park with curiosity, visiting various 19th century peasant homesteads. They are currently exploring a prosperous mountain homestead, which consists of a cottage on the right, a granary in the center, and a farm building on the left. The cottage, with 5 rooms, is well proportioned, built with fir logs, and topped with a 4-sided roof, covered in shingles. The granary, dating from 1882, has a gable roof, also covered in shingles, with grain storage chests inside. To the left of the farm building are a small pigsty, stable, and a cart shed with a horse-drawn cart. The farm building, also made of fir logs, features a 4-sided shingled roof. Firewood for cooking is stored under the overhanging roof. Well, now it is time to continue the visitor's journey into the past. In the forest, visitors stumbled upon a Carpathian gypsy settlement. Their cottages, henhouses, wood sheds, and a forge were arranged chaotically. Gypsies commonly made their living through blacksmithing. The forge, clad in wooden planks and roofed with shingles, stood out. Interiors were modest, clay-plastered walls, a ceiling lined with paper, a primitive stove, and an iron bed with a straw mattress. A prosperous homestead stood proudly, enclosed by a vertical fence, woven from fir branches. A vibrant flower garden adorned the front, lending charm and life to the cottage. Its exterior was marked by distinctive white stripes, created by sealing gaps with moss and clay, then whitewashed. Inside, the cottage offered a central hall, an unheated room to the left, and a cozy kitchen with sleeping spaces to the right. The merchant's wealth was evident in the large main room, which featured 2 well-made beds, a sturdy table with chairs, a pull-out crib for a child, and a prominent stove, crowned with a smoke hood. An adjoining room held another bed, and a warm children's nook atop a baking stove. The peasant turned to trading greases and oils, earning a considerable income. The barn, with its hemp-sealed gaps between beams, housed stables, a specialized wagon for oil transport, a woodshed, and a pigsty. A humble cottage, with no chimney. It consists of 3 rooms, a hall, a pantry, and a smoky living room. The gaps between the beams are sealed with clay and whitewashed with lime. The roof is a simple gable, covered with wooden shingles. All rooms have a dirt floor, typical of such modest dwellings. Walking through the Ethnographic Park to the rural school, visitors were struck by the simplicity of life in the past. The humble cottage, with its clay-sealed beams and earthen floors, stood in stark contrast to the merchant's more affluent home. Yet, both reflected resilience, hard work, and a deep connection to the land and shared heritage. The rural school, modest, yet vital, was the heart of education in the countryside. This small building, with its 2 classrooms, welcomed children of all ages. The classroom on the left featured wooden benches, with inkwell openings, student slates for writing, a teacher's desk, and a blackboard, embodying the simplicity of learning. The classroom on the right showcased a more modern setup, equipped with teaching aids, such as maps, a globe, a microscope, and educational charts. At the end of the corridor was the school office, furnished with a desk, teaching aids, and books neatly arranged on the left. To the right were the teacher's kitchen and living quarters, a poignant reminder of the dual role educators played as mentors and community members. Here, knowledge was nurtured amidst the humblest of surroundings. Rural schools were more than places of learning. They were lifelines for communities, fostering knowledge, values, and hope for a better future. In these modest classrooms, children from all walks of life gained the tools to shape their world, proving that even in humble settings, education could ignite profound change. Approaching the Greek Catholic Church, visitors passed a moderately wealthy farmstead with a cottage, pigsty, and utility building. The cottage, built from round fir logs, had 4 rooms and a steep shingle-covered roof. Moss sealed the gaps between beams. The pigsty, directly ahead, had 2 compartments and a storage area for farming tools. In the courtyard stood a traditional well with a wooden winch. The utility building included stables for cows and oxen, with a narrow, dark storage room for chaff on the left. Leaving the farmstead behind, the wooden Greek Catholic Church, dating back to 1786, came into view. The church is surrounded by a wooden fence, creating a sense of intimacy and reverence. The entrance gate is crowned with an onion-shaped dome, topped by a cross, echoing the church's Eastern Christian heritage. The bell tower, with its sloping walls, also ends in a cross, while the entire structure is covered with wooden shingles. Inside, the church captivates with vibrant polychrome paintings and a wall adorned with rows of icons. Although relocated to the Ethnographic Park, the church continues to hold Eastern Christian services. This timeless ritual preserves its spiritual significance, bridging the past and present in a space rich with history and devotion. At the heart of the Ethnographic Park stands a nobleman's manor, surrounded by peasant farmsteads. A tree-lined avenue leads to the manor, emphasizing its grandeur. The manor, affluent and imposing, starkly contrasts with the humble rural dwellings nearby. The single-story building, encircled by a park, is plastered and whitewashed, with a shingle-covered roof. Its architecture evolved over time, incorporating various styles during successive renovations. Visitors enter through a 4-column portico with a triangular pediment leading to a central hallway and the grand hall. To the left are the manor kitchen, a modest dining room, and a small room with polychrome decorations, which once served as a chapel. On the right are 2 notable rooms. The ladies' chamber, furnished in 19th century style, where a 6-voice harmonium proudly stands. And the Lord's study, a space for administrative work and social gatherings. The study features an ornate carved desk, a symbol of the owner's authority and status. This contrast between the manor and the farmsteads reflects the historical dependence of peasants on landowners, a relationship deeply rooted in the legal structure of land ownership at the time. The lord owned the land, while the peasants used it, paying with unpaid labor. The manor stands as a testament to the social hierarchy of its era, preserving both privilege and the labor that sustained it. Walking toward the Galician town, visitors encounter a humble cottage, modestly built by the local landowner for a landless estate watchman. The interior is a quintessential example of the living conditions of the poorest peasants. Adjacent to the cottage lies a small garden, simple, yet practical. Beyond the humble cottage, visitors pass a prosperous homestead on the right, consisting of a farmhouse, stable, and barn. This homestead belonged to a wealthy cattle trader who also owned extensive farmland. The farmhouse was constructed from massive beams of fir and larch, showcasing the craftsmanship of the era. Small, deep-set windows added to its rustic charm. It featured a hipped roof, layered with straw, thatched in steps. Over time, the roof became cloaked in moss, blending harmoniously with its natural surroundings. The main sleeping room contained wooden beds, a table with chairs, a chest, and a bench. The adjoining room prominently featured a child's cradle, suggesting the presence of young children. A separate room served as a woodworking and wool-making workshop, equipped with a carpentry bench, a foot-powered lathe, and tools for crafting wooden wheels. This space showcased the resourcefulness of rural life. From here, visitors could see the large stable, housing farm animals, including oxen intended for trade. Adjacent to the stable stood an open carriage house, where the farmer stored carts and wagons. Despite the owner's wealth, the homestead's interior reflected local traditions of simplicity. Visitors can observe the method for crafting straw roofs. Loose layers of straw were fastened with willow twigs or juniper branches, skillfully woven into a durable covering. To the left stood a spacious barn with a central gate, allowing wagons to pass through. Inside, crops, tools, and equipment were stored. This well-organized homestead was a testament to the blend of practicality and tradition in Galicia region's rural life. Visitors pass a modest, typical homestead on the right. the whitewashed farmhouse, features a single room on its right side. To the right of the house lies a garden, while in front of the entrance, there is a wood pile for cooking and heating. On the left flows a stream, above which stands a double mill, with the miller's residence. The millstones are powered by a wooden spindle and a differential, driven by the rotations of the main drive shaft. Attached to the mill are the living quarters, which reflect the miller's modest lifestyle. After touring the historic flour mill, visitors move on to explore two water-powered sawmills. The first dates back to 1860 and is housed in a wooden shed. Inside, visitors can see a single-blade vertical saw designed for cutting logs, which are moved by a rope mechanism driven by a crank system. Visitors are currently walking through the section showcasing traditional folk industry. The second sawmill, powered by an undershot water wheel, features a modernized saw designed for cutting planks. These exhibits vividly illustrate the ingenuity of past craftsmanship and the resourceful use of natural energy. In the northern part of the park lies a section dedicated to Galician Germans. A highlight is the German headman's farmstead, with a unique layout. Buildings arranged gable end to the road, forming a courtyard, enclosed by walls, with a gate and wicket. The house combines living quarters, a stable, and a shed, under one roof on the left, with a granary, parallel to it, on the right. The living area includes a hall, kitchen, and 2 rooms. The kitchen features a large brick stove, with a metal plate and chimney, along with modern for the time appliances like meat grinders and fruit presses. The main room, serving as a formal space, contains 2 beds, bourgeois furniture, a sewing machine, and a gramophone, with records. The smaller room is modestly furnished, with 2 wardrobes, a bed, and a cradle. The stable, accessible also from the courtyard, houses cows, horses, chickens, and a servant's bed. Adjacent is a shed for wagons, sleds, and farming tools, including a threshing machine. The granary stores grain chests, a hand mill, and bins for beans and peas. Germans were brought to the region between 1783 and 1788 by the Austrian Emperor to modernize the agriculturally underdeveloped area. As visitors complete their tour, they reflect on how these settlers, through their resourcefulness and dedication, transformed the local landscape with innovation and hard work. Their efforts laid the foundation for a more prosperous future. Along the way, visitors encounter an intriguing wooden Roman Catholic church, built in 1739. Its tower, with slanted walls, is topped with a bulbous dome, crowned by a lantern, and a wrought iron cross. The church is oriented with its presbytery to the east. It is a single nave structure, covered with wooden shingles. The interior is richly adorned. Along the nave walls are 2 green-hued neo-Baroque side altars, enhancing the church's overall artistic splendor. The late Baroque main altar prominently displays a depiction of the crucifixion at its center. This historic church not only reflects the craftsmanship of its era, but also serves as a testament to the deep-rooted spiritual traditions of the community. Visitors are often left pondering how such enduring beauty and faith have shaped the lives of generations past. Opposite the Roman Catholic Church lies the Manor Farm Complex, a testament to rural estate life. The farmstead includes a granary, a barn, an octagonal horse-powered mill shed, a stable with pigsties, a henhouse, and a coach house on the left. Currently, the granary houses an exhibition of beautifully crafted wedding chests. These chests were an integral part of the traditional dowry, representing the wealth and belongings a bride brought into her marriage. The artistry of these chests reflects the cultural significance of marriage and the pride families took in preparing their daughters for a new life. Each chest, with its intricate designs and craftsmanship, tells a story of love, tradition, and the enduring values of the rural community. The cottage was originally built by the estate owner for the manor's baker and later became home to the family of a rural shoemaker. Here, custom boots, lace-up shoes, and repairs were skillfully crafted. Inside, a smoky brick stove dominates the right side, while a corner on the left served as a space for a cow. The second room housed the shoemaker's workshop, where tools of the trade still rest on the workbench, evoking the daily life of the artisan. To the right of the workshop is a simple bed, completing this modest, yet fascinating glimpse into rural craftsmanship and ingenuity. Concluding their journey, visitors reach the humble dwelling of a poor agricultural laborer. Its whitewashed walls, thatched roof, and clay floors reflect a stark simplicity, offering a poignant glimpse into the hardships of rural life. As visitors conclude their journey through the Ethnographic Park, they are struck by the deep connection between the past and present. Each cottage, barn, and workshop tells a story, not just of survival, but of ingenuity, community, and resilience. These preserved structures, with their humble details and lived-in spaces, are more than relics, they are a testament to the enduring spirit of rural life. Walking through this world of tradition and craft is both humbling and inspiring. It reminds visitors that even in the simplest of settings, there is beauty, purpose, and the unyielding human drive to create and thrive. The park leaves a profound respect for those who came before us and the enduring legacies they left behind.